Hello friends of the electrified charging fun and welcome to Speicher Elektrisiert, your channel all around Skoda's e-mobility. My name is Matthias and look what I've got for you. Two brand new Skoda ENYAQ model year 2024. There's the coupe, there is the basic or SUV version of it. And now we are looking in detail what these cars are made of, how good they are, and if maybe one of those are for you. So let's go. Well, first things first. Skoda has invited me to the press event of the release of the new model year. Otherwise, I stood no chance to bring these cars that early on my channel. And also, Skoda paid for my accommodation down here, so for the hotel and the meals. What they do not pay me for is for my extra 2 days off from work and for travel expenses to reach Zell am See. But to be honest with you, so that you have a full disclosure. Skoda does not have any influence on my opinion on the car, however. And now let's start with the exterior. I'll do this review as if you have never seen an ENYAQ before, because I think you might be interested in an ENYAQ without looking at the car before. So this is not a comparison with the old model year. And if there are information you already knew, you can skip over the chapters in the video. And if you look at the ENYAQ from the front, doesn't matter if it's a coupe or the SUV, it looks the same. The only differences in the front between the models are those applications down here, where we on the RS have these black ones with these 3 stripes. On a sports line you would see the middle stripe removed, and on the LNK these are grey. But otherwise you can't separate both. If you look close enough up here, you see that right at the windshield's top the panoramic roof of the coupe starts, whilst the normal version doesn't have this, even if you have the sunroof. The normal version will have a small piece of metal before the sunroof starts. What I definitely recommend if you are interested in an ENYAQ is going with the crystal face here. This is over 130 LEDs, which really looks great if they are lighted. If you do not take the crystal face, you have some black cover here, which really doesn't look that nice. If we move on to the side of the ENYAQ, you can definitely see the differences between the SUV and the coupe. Right now you're looking at the coupe with its distinguished line to the back. And the rest, by the way, is still the same. But the SUV has this characteristic SUV design, whilst the coupe has his design. What you also see is this application right here with the RS logo on it. This is always green, no matter the color of the body of the car. And yes, with orange and green, it does not look that perfect, but you cannot change this. And now let's move over to the SUV so that you can compare. Let's now move over to the back, where a slight change has happened in the design. Of course, the rear is different between a coupe and an RS. You can see it right here. And if you look at the coupe, it has this huge window here in the back, whilst the RS doesn't. But that's not the difference. The difference with the new model year is the new CI of Skoda. So the new logo you see right here with that new S, and they removed the IV. So basically you have here 85, 85X, or with the RS nothing instead of the IV. Let's have a look at the trunk of the model year 2024 ENYAQ. And you see a slight change here. They put some plastic parts on the sides here, so you can remove them and put them back, so you can store even more stuff into the sides of the ENYAQ. That's simply clever. Would be great if you could retrofit it, but unfortunately I guess this is not possible. You have 585 liters of volume back here in the trunk, so you can stuff a lot of things. The transport package is not in this ENYAQ, but doesn't matter. And Down here you find the Canton subwoofer and only a small box where you can put the charging cable. The ENYAQ, however, doesn't have a frunk. If you are putting down the rear seat, you get up to 1,710 liters of storage. You've got these hooks up here to put stuff on it. And normally up here you could release the rear seats, but this does not have it. The trunk in the coupe is a bit smaller due to how it is built, but it's not much. This trunk still has 570 liters of storage, and this is because you get a bit deeper down here. It, of course, has these plastic parts on the side as well. That's really handy. And it's really like the SUV variant. Up here you don't have a roller blind, but the traditional head rack. And the roller blind would not make that much sense here. If you put down the rear seats, you get up to 1,610 liters. But compared to the SUV, the trunk is still really a good thing at the coupe. Just one small addition here. If you are in for a tow bar, which is optional, the tow capacity remains the same, even with the new engine and the much more torque. So if you go with the RS, you have 1,400 kilograms of tow capacity, and if you go with an 85 or 85X, you still have 1,200 kilograms of tow capacity. Let's talk quick about the new engine on the rear of the ENYAQ, about the battery and the charging capacity of the car. Well, the new motor on the rear is the same for the 85, the 85X and the RS. The 60 didn't get any upgrade and the 50 is obsolete. So we are only talking about the bigger ENYAQs. And this new motor on the back, now the APP 550, has up to 550 torque, whilst the old one only got 310. And you'll recognize that on the road, and you'll recognize that in the top speed. Now all ENYAQs have 180. The RS got that before, the other ENYAQs had 160. And as an example for the RS, if you go 0 to 100, that's 1 second less, also due to the new motor. The battery capacity stays the same. It's 77 kilowatt hours. But for the all-wheel drive ENYAQs, the X and the RS, there's a new battery chemistry. And this allows higher charging speeds. That is why the 85X and the RS now are able up to go to 175 kilowatts of charging performance. And though reducing the charging time down to 28 minutes from 10 to 80%, and that's on par with the 85. So basically all ENYAQs are now able to charge up to 80% in less than 30 minutes. Let's start our small interior tour here with this configuration with brown leather, and you see it is here in the doors. You have it here up on the cockpit, you have it here in the middle. Quite nice here if you lean your knee or your leg against it. The seating really looks nice, and of course you got this back here for the rear passengers as well. And this really makes a cozy look. You feel like home in the ENYAQ when you enter. And just look here in the front into the ambient design of the car. It is really, really nice, and it gets accomplished by this large panoramic roof, which gives a lot of light in the interior. And you cannot open it, unfortunately, but well, there's always some small things which will not work. Also, look in front of me. This seat is far behind, so if you see there. And if you look here, how much leg space I've got. I'm 1.74 m, but there's plenty of room here. And speaking of room, let's look headspace. And you can see I have a lot of it. And you would also fit if you're 20 centimeters taller than me. And we are in the coupe right now. And yeah, this is quite convenient sitting here in the rear. But as with all coupes, if you look back, you see right out of the window. It's a bit narrow, but this is due to the coupe building form. Let's do the headspace check here in the SUV model, and as you can see, this is not much more. This is nearly the same as in the coupes. So when it comes to headspace, you don't have to take the SUV if you need more, because they are really comparable. And this also belongs to the leg space here in front of me. Why should it be different? The cars have the same length. So yeah, it's not a choose from the height of the person if you prefer a coupe or the SUV. And now let's just take another look to the front. You see this great space for driving, dominated by the main screen. Over there the steering wheel is the same as in previous models. Now there is also, besides these 3-spoke wheels, a 2-spoke one, but this depends on configuration which one you get. If you look at the steering wheel, those wheels here right now have a different touch. They are no more glossy. And what you also see, there is a button missing. And this is on purpose. There is no button anymore. And this is just white space. I don't know why. And also just here in the middle row, these buttons have new icons, and this button has a new function. Now it's not mode, you directly go to the assistant systems. Let's take the new ENYAQ for a short driving test. Well, to be honest, if you're driving a car, you should feel it yourself. I can talk about a lot in this video, but to be honest, what's really worth when I'm telling you how good it feels, how nice it is in the bends and stuff like that. Experience it yourself. But the first thing I noticed now that I'm sitting in the new ENYAQ, that is in the first couple of minutes, how much more power is on the rear axle. The torque of 550 Newton meter, this is a huge improvement when it comes to the older ENYAQ of 310, and you feel it right away. So let's see how acceleration works in this RS when I go pedal to the metal. And basically now we're done, we are at 100 kilometers an hour, we can't drive faster here. That's it. And I guess you get a good impression on how good this new rear engine is with its 550 Newton meters of torque. Of course, we need to consider that this is the RS, so it has 250 kilowatts of power, and you feel that too. So it's a really strong car, which makes a lot of fun to drive. Whilst we're here midwinter in Zell am See in Austria, we could also test how capable the ENYAQ is on driving on a snowy, steep road. And that's what we're doing right now. We have to admit the ENYAQ I am driving is an all-wheel drive ENYAQ, so basically it has no problem on snow. And first what I do now is to accelerate in normal drive mode, so I don't set anything, and I put pedal to the metal to see what happens, and you can see it right here. Nothing. We just start, we just drive, we speed up really fast, and the ENYAQ has no problem at all. And since we have an all-wheel drive ENYAQ, we have the traction mode as well, which should help you out in such situations. So we try traction mode now. Again, not with a normal approach of starting with pedal to the metal, of course. And you can see what happens here. Nothing again. It's just like driving on rails. The ENYAQ is really good capable in driving in snowy conditions. Let's talk about the assistance systems in the ENYAQ model year 2024. Basically, they are the same as in the previous ENYAQs. But as long as I'm driving right now, it's not that much, but I feel they got improved a lot. Let's take the lane assist, for example. Right here in Austria, there are markings missing, there is snow over the lanes, and to be honest, it constantly recognizes the left and the right one. The old ENYAQ would here normally say, well, I don't know one or the other, but this ENYAQ here, perfectly fine. Just like driving on rails. And he is also correcting the way you are driving. I would say a bit harsher than the old ENYAQ, but I'm not quite sure about that. Another thing is, as you can see, we are now leaving a zone where we are allowed to drive 80. He detects 100 and he immediately at the sign starts to drive 100. There is no delay of 2 or 3 seconds we had before, so also working perfectly fine. And also the predictive assistant who tells you when to brake or when a bend is occurring works like charm, as does the adaptive cruise control. So overall, the same assistance systems, but much improved. They are really great. I love driving with those, and yeah, they work like charm. But again, experience this, please, experience this yourself. And go to your dealer, grab a model year 2024 and drive it for yourself. And I bet the differences are there between the normal 85 and the 85X to the RS, but they are not that huge. You also get 210 kilowatts of power in those cars, and that's way enough to have a comfort ride. The ENYAQ makes opening and closing rather easy, so basically if you have the optional package and you get close to the car without pressing any button, it opens up. And what's new with the model year 2024 is that when you go away, the car will close itself. And to showcase this, I will step in. And as you can see, now I'm ready to drive. And normally the ENYAQ, when you now walk away, would not lock up. But see here. The new model year does this. I'm just closing the door and walking away. And now the ENYAQ locks up. Let's talk about the new software version 4 and the infotainment. I just jumped into the car, it booted up within an instant, and now let's hit OK. And there you have it, the brand new software version 4 and the brand new design. And let's talk a bit about this screen first. They had minimized these bars. They are not as high as they were in the old software, so there's much more room for the widgets here in between. And they also improved these widgets, as I would say, very well looking icons, a much crisper and clearer font for all the labels, and basically you still got the same concept behind it. So you got widgets here in the middle. You can add some favorites, but these are not really favorites down here. And you can add up favorites up here. And maybe you think, why is there some blank space? That is because the car is not turned on. These functions are only available when I turn on the car, and there you go. They are back right now. So you also got the home button, as you might know, down here to get to this screen. Then you've got the control for the seat heating and for the temperature. And here in between, this new section is called the apps section, which is controlled by this button. Here you've got apps you can put down here. And the menu for the car is now here in the upper left corner. But let's stick with the lower bar first. If I now control the temperature, you see it is based on the context what I'm doing, what it is showing here. Now I can sync it over to the other seat. This is quite nice because I don't have to reach for the function in the AC menu. But basically that's below here. Let's look up here. Now it's also new arranged. The messages are here still, and you've got the clock here. Fun fact, if you tap on the clock, you enter the settings menu. Then here you've got favorites, which you can just change the way you like. Just tap longer on them, and here you've got all the functions you can place up here to use while driving the ENYAQ. And then you've got the widgets here in the middle part of the display. They have a new design, as already told, and what I like is they also added to some of the smaller widgets some more value. This is a charging widget, and now they are showing you, for example, like here, the SOC. And let's have a look at those. You can have several pages with widgets. You could add some more if you like. And now let's see how you can do this. Just tap longer on one of those widgets and maybe just place another widget there. So select here, tap here, and you're done. And that's the same how to add pages. And what's new? You have 3 design layouts for this page, the way the widgets are arranged. You are not free anymore. You just have to take one out of those. And then you can build the screens you like. You could also delete them. And as you can see, I've just added this widget, and with this widget you get, for example, the range. Also, what you might notice, we've got the map here, which has a much fresher and nicer look. And look what we've got here, street names, finally. Up here you've got the previous targets I'd entered, so for quick selection. And we go through some of these applications behind just in a minute, and you can also see how smooth this all works. And the best thing to prove you how good the new hardware is going into the map. And now let's see. You see, it's just without any lags, without any staggering. There's nothing. It's just working fine. You can do everything. Just look at this. This is so great. Well, let's stick with the map. You can also see they improved the design. Much smaller icons for better visibility. Much better fonts for better visibility. And they do not hide the filters for charging stations anymore. They're directly here in a neat menu to use them. And let's stick a bit longer with this map and do some routing. Let's go to Berlin. And as you can see, he is really fast in calculating the route. Let's hit start. And look at this. Also, the route design on the map is much better. Now let's head over to our route and the chargers. This is much better design than before. You can clearly see every charging you are going to. You see how long you will charge. You still don't see the SOC percentage. You have to go on the charger, but the icon indicates it quite well. If it's green, you're above 20%. If it's yellow, you're 20% or lower, and if it's red, you're below 10%. That's awesome. That's how it should be. And we do another thing. If you are not happy with one of the chargers, but by the way, this is a good selection, tap on it, other charging stations, and now you've got the filter for the stations right here. You do not have to set it anywhere else. You can directly change them here to your delight. That is awesome. That is really great. This is the usability you need for charge planning. So basically they improved this by far. This is really good. This is a good map. This is good navigation, and it's good charge planning. You still can tap up here to change between the time of arrival or the duration of the trip. And if we go over to our main screen, this also looks so much better now if you have this widget to see along the route. This is really a nice thing to have. Let's stop routing now. By the way, you don't have to go anywhere in the menu to stop it. You can hit just stop here on the widget. This is also, there are so many improvements done. Let's go into the menu and look at some of the functions you have here. For example, let's go to vehicle. And what you see there is the performance of the system. The car is coming quickly, there are no lags, and you can simply scroll through with no lags. It's just as smooth as it should be. I don't go into all the details of the settings you can do here, just for you to get an impression of what you can do. Now let's head over to the charging. This may be of special interest for you because of this menu you see right now, the rapid charging or the preheating function. Even the basic charging got improved. It's much easier to slide this handle than before. And what you see here is how the car is able to improve your charging experience. And right now I could charge with 6 kilowatts. And he could optimize it up to 67 kilowatts and needed nearly an hour. Why is it? You may already saw it. I have an SOC of 75%. So what should he optimize there? There is nothing to optimize because you simply do not charge, do not do a rapid charge with 75%. But later on, we will see this in action. And another maybe important thing is this new menu entry, seats. And you can adjust the front passenger seat with the controls of the driver's seat right now. So if you need it, this might come in handy. I don't know if you will need it. So let's have another look into the parking. You could also access this with the button down below the display, and I show you the park assist later on, but the more important thing is this. Look at how big the camera view now is. It uses the complete screen between those two bars. And you can see really good what's in front of you, what's behind, and it works like charm. There are no more additional bars coming into your view. You just simply have the view you need to maneuver your car quite well. I don't have a shot from a night view with the camera, but I saw it yesterday night and it is so much better than before, and it is really good, usable right now. So this got improved very well. And maybe let's do a bit down here with the buttons. See what happens when I hit mode for the driving profile. You don't go into a submenu, you get this screen up here for quick selection. But you don't even have to use your finger, you can just press the button below, just here. And there you go. And if you need the full menu, you could tap up on this and you're now in the menu for this. Of course, there is also the menu right here to get directly there. And let's just have a quick look at the AC and climate functions. It's so much better. This is really good to operate. You've got on-off just here where the driver can operate it, not over there. They reduced the amount of smart features down here, and this is so easy. You can operate this quick while driving. I really love the new design of the climate menu. Well, finally, let's have a look at Laura before we stop with this infotainment part. She is now a green dot up here and she writes what she hears. So let's try to talk with her and I will just show you some of the functions she has. There is so many more, but just some simple ones. And we start just for the example with seat heating. Please turn on the seat heating.
I've switched on the seat heating at the front left.
And there you go, maximum. And if I do not want it, you can tell her, please turn down seat heatings by 2 levels.
I'll lower the seat heating at the front left by 2.
And you see, it got decreased to 1. Please turn off the seat heating.
I've switched off the seat heating at the front left.
And see how fast she reacts to everything. It's nearly instant. Let's do another one and tell her to turn off the climating or the AC. Please turn off the climate.
Got it.
And there you go, she turns it off. But what's also working right now? Please turn climate on.
Sure.
And there you go. It's back and activated. And I want to showcase you another nice feature. Just look at the widget right here which shows Eco. Please switch the driving profile to Sport. And there you go.
I've set the driving profile to Sport.
You can now control several more functions of your ENYAQ just by speaking to Laura. Of course, you can do conversation with Laura like this. Please tell me a joke.
Oh, my developers didn't teach me that, but I'll give it a go anyway. I couldn't work out how to fasten my seatbelt. Then it clicked.
You might discuss about the jokes of her, but she got several more, not only one. Well, basically that's it for the software. If you want the deep dive, please wait for the responding video. Let's have a look at the new cockpit display. Well, the size stays the same, but it has a brand new user interface. And this looks so clean and so well-rounded. All the necessary information got displayed. They got rid of a lot of stuff which was not so great in the old ENYAQ, and the design is much more sleek. You still have the tabs on the left and also on the right. And there's a new function you see right now where you see the occupancy of the seats and if people have fastened their seat belts or not. And if I do so, you see it disappeared. I have a navigation started, so the routing is shown now, but I can also go one tab further to the right, indicated by this green arrow, and you see the consumption, and you can go back to navigation. On the left side, you have all the assistance systems. And there is a new function for the right wheel on the steering wheel. And if I move it upward, you see I can now operate the head-up display. And if I move downward, the combi display, or the cockpit display as I call it. And so now let's see what head-up display got for a new function there, why you can scroll with the wheel. Let's look at the new head-up display design. And as you can see, there are now 3 sections. You've got the left one with the assistance systems, you've got the middle part with the speed, and the right one now with an active navigation ongoing. And as you can see these sections right now, you know what I mentioned before with the right wheel on the steering wheel, you can control the sections. So if I tap to the left now, you can also see the SOC, the range, and a battery symbol indicating how much is left. In the middle design, you have all the important information from left to right with the assistance systems, the driving speed and the navigation, but you can also go over to the right side where you have now more details on navigation and consumption. Above, the augmented reality is shown like arrows when you have to make a turn or if you go about a roundabout, but it's so hard to film while driving. Unfortunately, I cannot show you these symbols right now, but I bet there are videos from Skoda out there. So for me, head-up display now has a much higher quality than ever before. As you can see, it's getting dark outside and time flew away, and we didn't manage to get the car below the SOC of 43%. And this basically means to showcase preheating, this is not the ideal condition. Now he needs over 30 minutes to get up to 122 kilowatts for best performance, but we'll give it a chance and see what will happen if we start preconditioning now. Now I've activated preconditioning and you see it is running. You can interrupt it anytime you like, and he's also telling you how long it is needed to get up to optimal temperature. As you can see, we are up to 124 kilowatts charging capability right now, and it says it needs 11 or 12 minutes still to go up to the best situation to charge. But basically, this is a real good value, and we reached it within 20 minutes. Our SOC is now down to 33%, and we will now head for the charger and see what will happen. So now we are at the charger. Right now, we have a charging capability of 137 kilowatts, and we are at an SOC of 31%, whilst the outside temperature, unfortunately not shown up here, is at -2 degrees something. We are plugged in now at a 300 kilowatts charger right here with a kind of interesting construction, but nevertheless everything is set up for recording and to see what will happen now here at the ENYAQ when we charge it. I recorded the German video before, so you didn't saw the ramp up with my comments to this charging power, but I'll show you right here in the display. You can see how this ramps up, and please look at this. We are running 162 kilowatts of charging at an SOC of 34% in cold, wintry conditions where normally the battery would not be able to get half of this energy done. This is awesome. And there it is, the final result. 21 minutes 40 seconds to charge 40 kilowatt hours of energy and going up to 80%. So basically we charge from 32 or 31 up to 80% within just 21 minutes. And honestly, I'm happy about that test. You know why? Because we didn't start at 10% or something like that. We started at an SOC where you would normally expect no performance at all. And this was quite astonishing. Well, it's time for a conclusion. I had now several hours with the ENYAQ, went to the complete script, and that's why I take notes, because simply this is so much you do here that you are able to forget, and I don't want to miss out a thing. And as a driver of an old ENYAQ, I think I really can judge about the improvement they made. And there were many, and they are really good. They knew their points where they need to improve, and they did this. You saw this in the video. So this is not all the best you can do, but it's so much better. I don't understand why there is not a button on the steering wheel. Why don't you put a new one there? And some other small flaws. But this is not much, and so basically they are heading the right way with the model year 2024. This is an EV competitive on the market in 2023, 2024. This is how the ENYAQ should be, and this is how I wished the ENYAQ was back in 2021 when I bought one. And this brings me to a very important point. This video is about the Skoda ENYAQ and not the company group and not their politics on updates or something like this. Let's focus on the new model year here, and there will be a time and a place in another video where I compare my 80X with the 85X, where we can discuss all these topics. But let's keep the focus on the new model year and on the improvements they made. And this brings me to the point. What I saw until now is a great car, a car which I could definitely recommend to you, because it got so much more power. The new engine on the rear is so much more fun with its 550 Newton meter of torque. The design is still good. I like the design of the ENYAQ. It's still a fresh and new design. And the assistance systems got very, very better. They are hugely improved, and I love how good they work. And did you see Laura? This works like charm. Routing and navigation, charge planning, everything's fine. They really knew where they had to do their homework, and they did it. So after my short test here, yes, there's a recommendation for this car. And now I'm curious what you think. Please write me in the comments what you think about the model year 2024, and if you are thinking about getting one. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and maybe consider to subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And then we'll see each other in the next video, and until then, stay full of energy.